My name is Emily, and at 23, I was living my dream as a social media influencer. With over 80,000 followers, my life revolved around posting vlogs, snapping aesthetic photos, and sharing my daily routines. But I never realized just how dangerous that visibility could be until it was too late. It started with a direct message. A user named Jake Marston sent me this.
You looked beautiful at the pier today. That blue dress really suits you.
I froze. I had been at the pier earlier, but I hadn't posted a picture of myself, only a shot of the sunset. How could they have known what I was wearing? I told myself it was a coincidence or a harmless fan, but something didn't sit right. I blocked the account, hoping that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The next morning, another message arrived from @JakeMarston1.
You can block me, Emily, but you'll never escape me.
My stomach dropped. Over the next few weeks, more accounts appeared. @JakeMarston11, @JakeMarston111, @JakeMarston1111. No matter how many I blocked, a new one would replace it. The messages became more invasive.
I love how your hair glows in the sunset. I can see you right now. You don't get it, Emily. I'm always watching.
Terrified, I told my best friend, Katie. She urged me to go to the police, and I finally did. The officers listened, took a report, and told me to make my accounts private. But they also explained their limitations. Without a clear threat or evidence of a crime, there wasn't much they could do beyond advising me to stay cautious. Then, one evening, I received a message that made me feel sick to my core. It was a photo, a picture of me from high school, sitting with my friends at a pep rally. I hadn't posted that photo anywhere. It wasn't online. The only place it existed was in an old yearbook tucked away in a drawer at my parents' house. Shaking, I called Katie, who came over immediately. We scoured the internet, trying to figure out how they'd found the photo. The police also started investigating, looking into access logs for my old accounts and checking my devices for malware. They didn't find anything, but I knew one thing for sure. This person wasn't just stalking me online. They had been to my parents' house. When I told my parents what had happened, they searched the house but didn't find anything unusual. We hadn't installed security cameras at the time, but we put them up right after that. Knowing the stalker had been in their home, touching my belongings, left me feeling violated and helpless. The breaking point came during an Instagram Live. I was chatting with my followers, answering questions, when a comment popped up from @JakeMarston111111.
That red hoodie looks great on you. It's my favorite.
My blood ran cold. I was wearing a red hoodie, the same one I had on in real time during the live. Then came another comment.
Turn around.
I ended the live immediately and called 911. When the police arrived, they searched the area and checked the building's security footage. The cameras caught a masked figure standing outside my window, watching me during the live. They were tall, dressed in dark clothing and completely covered, mask, gloves, and a baseball cap. The police tried to enhance the footage, but they couldn't identify the person. They warned me to be cautious and assured me they were investigating. A week later, a package arrived at my parents' house. It was addressed to me, with no return address. Inside was a Polaroid photo of me sitting on my parents' couch, scrolling through my phone. The message was clear. I wasn't safe, even here. That was the moment I knew I had to give everything up. I deleted all my social media accounts, moved to a different city, and tried to start over. Leaving behind my career was devastating. I lost all my sponsorships and collaborations overnight. Social media had been my dream, my passion, and my livelihood. But no amount of success was worth living in constant fear. The police kept the investigation open for a while, but never found the stalker. The accounts disappeared, and the trail went cold. Even now, every knock at the door or shadow outside the window sends my heart racing. I've learned to live without social media, but I'll never escape the feeling that someone is still out there watching me.
Living alone for the first time in a big city was supposed to be exciting. For me, it was. At least at first. Tokyo felt like a dream come true. Vibrant streets, endless possibilities, and the thrill of independence. I rented a small but modern apartment in the heart of Shibuya. It wasn't much, but it was mine. At night, the neon lights of the city illuminated my window, and the constant hum of life outside made me feel less alone. I was so excited to finally be on my own, to live life on my terms. Tokyo was everything I'd hoped for. But now, when I think back to that time, all I feel is dread. That apartment, it became my prison, and I didn't even realize it until it was too late. It started so small that I almost didn't notice. Just soft knocks on my door at night. At first, I thought it was just kids playing pranks. I'd get up, check through the peephole, but there was never anyone there. It happened so often I started ignoring it, convincing myself it wasn't a big deal. Then, my shoes started to move. You know, the ones I left neatly outside my door. At first, I thought it was me. I must have bumped them, right? But no. Each time, they'd be just slightly out of place, as if someone had picked them up and put them back down, just a little off. It sounds silly, I know. Shoes, of all things. But it started to get under my skin. It wasn't just the shoes. It was the thought behind it. Someone had been there, touching my things, and I hadn't noticed. I tried to shrug it off. I didn't want to seem paranoid or overly sensitive, but deep down, the unease was already creeping in. Then came the gift. One evening I came home after a long day at university and found a small box on my doorstep. Inside was a bracelet. My bracelet. I actually smiled at first. I thought I'd lost it weeks ago, in a park miles away from home. I remember holding it in my hand, feeling this weird sense of relief. But then reality hit me. How did it end up here? I hadn't told anyone I'd lost it. No one even knew it existed. That's when I saw it. The latch on my bedroom window. It was unlocked. My heart sank. I never opened that window. Not once. The thought that someone had been inside my apartment while I wasn't there. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on my bed, staring at that window, wondering if they were going to come back. After that, the little disturbances started to escalate. My laundry, hanging neatly to dry, would feel slightly damp in spots, like someone had touched it. Late at night, I'd hear faint footsteps in the hallway outside my door. Always the same pattern, always the same soft sound, as if someone was waiting just on the other side. I started double-checking every lock, keeping the lights on even when I went to bed. But it didn't help. I felt them everywhere, like their eyes were on me no matter what I did. The breaking point came one night when I woke up in the middle of the night. Something felt wrong, like the air in the room had changed. My stomach was already in knots when I got up and walked to the bathroom. That's when I saw it. Taped to the mirror was a note. "I'll always be close." I froze. I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. My hands were shaking so much I could barely rip the note off the mirror. Someone had been in my apartment while I was sleeping. I couldn't stop imagining it. Them standing over me, watching me in the dark. I didn't sleep after that. I packed a bag and left the next morning. I didn't even tell my landlord. I just walked out the door and never looked back. I stayed with a friend for a few days, trying to figure out what to do. I went to the police, clutching that note like it was the only thing tethering me to reality. They listened. They took my statement, but I could tell from the look in their eyes that they weren't going to do much. They said it was probably a neighbor, someone with a spare key, but they couldn't be sure. They asked me to come back if anything else happened. But how could I? I wasn't going back to that apartment. Ever. I moved to another city after that. I thought it would help, but the fear followed me. Every little noise makes me jump. A creak in the floorboards, the hum of an air conditioner. It all feels like him, like he's still there somehow. I know it's irrational, but the fear doesn't care. I don't trust anyone now. I can't walk down a hallway without feeling someone's behind me.
Alex was a graphic designer who often explored London for inspiration. The city's iconic landmarks, especially near Big Ben and the South Bank, were his favorite spots. On weekends, he'd bring his camera, capturing everything from tourists laughing to the way the light danced off the Thames. Photography was my escape from the daily grind. It was just me, my camera, and the city, but one evening, that piece shattered. It was a Saturday evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon. I was setting up my tripod near Big Ben when I noticed a man in a blue jacket standing nearby. At first, I didn't think much of him. He looked like just another photographer. But something about the way he lingered, his body angled slightly toward me, unsettled me. He wasn't taking photos. He was just standing there. I moved to different spots along the South Bank, trying to shake the feeling of being watched. But every time I stopped, there he was. Always a few steps away, always just watching. But then it started happening every time I went out. The sightings continued, each one more unsettling than the last. Always the same man in the blue jacket, sometimes ahead of me, as if he already knew where I was going, other times lurking just out of sight. And then the photo happened. I didn't tell anyone. I pretended to be strong, always putting on a confident front, but inside I was terrified. The thought of someone watching me so closely pissed me off and left me feeling completely exposed. One evening, after hours of photography, I returned home and opened my camera bag. Inside was a single printed photo. It showed me crouched down, adjusting my camera. The angle was unmistakable. It had been taken that day and the photographer had been close enough to touch me. My stomach dropped. That photo wasn't just creepy, it was proof. Someone had been following me for weeks, maybe longer, and I had no idea. I questioned everything. How much did he know about me? Had he been watching me at home too? The next weekend, I spotted him near Tower Bridge. My heart pounded as I walked straight up to him. "Why are you following me?" I asked, my voice trembling but firm. He just smiled, a slow, chilling smile, and said, "You're perfect. You'll understand soon." Then he turned and disappeared into the crowd. I stood there frozen, my mind racing. What did he mean? Why was he doing this? That same night, I went to the police, bringing the photo with me. They listened, took my statement, and reviewed the image. While they promised to investigate, they explained that with no clear leads or identifying information, their options were limited. I never saw him again after that night, but the fear didn't leave me. I stopped going to the South Bank. Photography didn't feel the same anymore. It didn't feel safe. I still glance over my shoulder wherever I go, and every stranger feels like a threat. The city I once loved feels smaller, darker, like there's nowhere to hide. I try to move on, but the memory of that man, of his smile and his words, lingers in the back of my mind. And I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I hadn't confronted him that night?